Again? Where'd you go, Charles?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast, episode number 601. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, coming to you live from Merritt, British Columbia. On the panel today, we have Will McDonald.
Hello.
How you doing there, Will? Everything's wonderful?
I am good. I'm getting excited about football because it's only 40 some odd days away.
It is. That's correct.
And
we had Charles. Charles was on with us, and he's gone somewhere. I have no idea where.
I have no idea
he's
either. Oh, well.
It is what it is. Hopefully he comes back. And there's Charles. We'll have to admit him. I think he's coming back in.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was really, really weird. My entire screen froze except for myself. You guys both completely froze.
Oh, no, we were talking.
Oh.
And we're recording, so we're still doing it. So we've introed the thing. There's Charles Cliff from Abbotsford, British Columbia. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were talking about only 40 days till the start of the CFL season, but in reality, what are we today? We're on the 23rd of April, the 27th, 28th, is it that the draft is?
I believe it's the 28th.
28th? Okay. And the NFL draft is what, tomorrow?
Thursday, yep.
Okay, so we're going to find out what happens there with a few people. That's kind of cool. This is exciting. Not that the CFL draft is exciting, but it does mean when we go through the CFL draft, it means that training camp is right around the fucking corner. And we know it. So training camp starts, what, May 11th, I understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't answer all at once.
Sorry.
Is that the rookie camp or is that the full camp?
No, that's the full camp. The rookie camp starts a few days earlier.
Okay, on the 8th or 9th, I guess, because
it's
at least 2 days earlier. Okay, well, that's kind of exciting because, that is only 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Literally 2 weeks away. 30 days in April. This is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty excited. Football's right around the corner. We get to start talking about it. I'm seeing a lot of new signings by different teams here, there, and everywhere, which is kind of a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it's camp fodder, I'm sure, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything to say, Charles? Anything interesting you want to add to the show before we get moving?
Nothing super important. No, I'm pretty good.
And Will, we covered most everything, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
UFL numbers are kind of suck, and we're talking about St. Louis with 30,000, and maybe we should put a CFL team in there. We're going to go over, Charles built an agenda, but there's one thing that we're going to add to it, CFL Chatter, and I'm not plugging another Facebook group here, but they put up a post today no, they didn't. It was CFL.ca put up a post about the commissioner, Randy Ambrosi, and how wonderful he was through his 10-year tenure in here. And I couldn't fucking put up with that bullshit. I had to come out and say something. Of course I did, right? And then I got into a bit of a battle with a couple of people, and I listed off all his great accomplishments, and nobody seems to be really happy about them because he didn't do anything. He fucked up our league for 9 years. So anyhow, we're going to talk about the CFL commissioner. So why don't we just kind of jump over here? I'm going to see let's see, where are we? Worst commissioner in CFL history, no doubt about it. Thank God he's finally gone. What a disaster. Okay, so then I get into an argument with this Simon, and here's a list of Randy's accomplishments, in my opinion, right? Okay. He said that the CFL is in better shape now than what it was before. In fact, it's so solid that they just raised this salary cap by $400,000. And I go, but they clawed it back.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. There was no increase to the salary cap. So That doesn't count. That I mean, like that in itself is a fuck up by Randy announcing something like this and then going, well, maybe we shouldn't do that and let's take it back. Okay, so number one, CFL 2.0 disaster, absolute disaster. What is CFL 2.0? We don't know. It never happened. Right? Just nothing there.
Yeah.
Yep.
He announced that we're going to have an exhibition game in Mexico City.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Okay. Completely ill prepared and a total embarrassment when he went before Parliament during COVID trying to get CFL relief money.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen either.
No. Forced global players on teams. We now have to have a global player on every team. Why? Why can't we just have nationals and imports? And if the import is an American, great. If the import is Australian, great. Doesn't matter. Why do we force to have somebody other than American? It's ridiculous. Okay. Anyhow, failed Halifax expansion. Even in his leaving speech, he says that he is optimistic that there will be an expansion team in Halifax. What is this? 3 attempts in 9 years
Based
for
on
him,
what?
and it failed, and failed. It's not going to happen. Okay. Incompetent handling of Sean Lemon affair. It was ridiculous what happened. A lot of people disagree with that, but you know what? It is what it is. Throughout his 9 years, particularly the last 5, his favoritism towards the Toronto Argonauts is blatantly obvious. Okay. In 2019, the Toronto Argonauts went over the salary cap. They are the only team in the history of this salary management cap in the CFL that the team wasn't fined. Okay. Saskatchewan's been fined 5 times. BC twice. Winnipeg twice. Montreal twice. I think Winnipeg twice. Maybe it might only be one. I think it's twice. Hamilton's been fined. Everybody's been fined. Toronto was not. Why? Why favoritism towards the Argos? Okay. Did not fine or suspend Michael Clemens, for the failure to follow league policy. So when there is a gender-based violence incident on your team, you are to immediately contact the league and file a report on what happened and what you're going to do with it. The league did not find out about the incident that happened a year prior until February of last year. Okay, which is at least 5 months after the last part of the incident, even though the abuse was going on for well over a year. Okay, so they did not file their report following the league policy. Okay, so somebody should have been fined or suspended over that. Didn't fine or suspend John Murphy for punishing the victim. They fired the victim and kept the perpetrator. Okay, that was wrong. And then they didn't ban Chan Kelly as per league policy. They suspended him instead because he's an asset to the league. He's not an asset to the league. He's barely an asset to the Toronto Argonauts. Okay, that's the Toronto thing. I'm done. I'm over that one. Failure to provide a CFL app during the mobile era. We still don't have a CFL app for our phone. Have you seen one?
Nope.
No, we had one.
It's probably one of the only leagues in the world that doesn't have their own app.
All the teams have an app.
Yep.
But not
the
CFL.
League doesn't. Now, that's an embarrassment, okay?
Yes, it is. In this day and age, absolutely.
A complete disaster in the CFL website. It was down for a year. It still has the stats suck. there's no useful information on this website, and they're paying copious amounts of money to this marketing company to do it, and we have nothing. It's garbage. You cannot look up stats on the CFL website for anything but last season. Okay, he's walking around the league, puffing out his chest like he's a god. Now I'm just sick of the arrogance of this asshole. He's done nothing for this league. Period. He can just walk away and go away somewhere because he's the most useless commissioner we've ever had in the CFL. Can anybody name me anything that he did that was wonderful?
I can.
What?
He resigned. He resigned.
He resigned.
So
I don't know
explain
if
to
he
me.
did. Did he
Explain
resign
to
or was he
me.
fired?
But explain to me how he had that job for 10 years or 8
Because
years, whatever it was.
Sucks ass really well. I don't know. I mean,
any job I've ever had that was based on performance, and if you didn't perform, you lost your job.
correct.
So how did he have a job?
Email from your Acadian neighbors. A retired Sunder physician awarded $30,000 in damages plus.
Really?
Why?
Sorry. My phone talks at me.
Sure it did. Yeah, I have no idea. I had no idea why he still had a job for as long as he did. I mean, the only thing he can do is be sucking up to the owners and doing exactly what they want. Now, I can't believe that the owners want the league to do what they did. Now, the only other thing that I can think of now is now that we have new owners in BC and Montreal and somebody relatively new in Hamilton, are they finally shaking things up and saying, you know what, we got to get rid of this clown?
Maybe.
Possible.
Right? I mean, David Braley basically ran this league, and the only way that you kept the job as a commissioner is if you sucked up to him and you did exactly what he wanted. So Randy must have been good at that because Jeffrey Orridge was not. Oh.
Right.
Anyhow, that's kind of my little rant on the commissioner, the outgoing commissioner, which is goodbye, get the fuck out of here and go home.
Have a nice life.
Yeah. Go lose some weight.
There's the other thing. Most professional offensive linemen, when they quit football, they slim down.
They lose weight.
Yes, sir. Defensive linemen get bigger. Okay. Most of the other positions, the guys get bigger. Look at what's his name in Winnipeg.
Wade Miller.
Wade Miller. He was fat when he played football. He's even fatter now. Anyways,
wasn't he a tight end or something?
I thought he was a lineman, wasn't he?
He was a fullback.
Fullback. Okay. Well, they're supposed to be big.
Okay.
Yeah, he was big as a fullback, but now he looks like 3 fullbacks. Anyways,
he's a house.
It's like he ate a fullback.
He looks like, I'm not gonna say these. We shouldn't fat shame. Anyways, but Randy hasn't lost a pound. There's no doubt about that. Okay. So
no. And just to touch base on something that Steven Sparksman said today.
Sorry, you look at Jay O'Neill for Calgary. He's their president, operations manager, something. He's a slim trim. He was an offensive lineman. He was an all-star offensive lineman. He could be a model today. There you go.
Okay.
Anyways.
So today, Steven Sparksman did point out the fact that there is a picture of me with Randy Ambrosie on social media. And correct, I do have a picture of myself with Randy Ambrosie, and Charles was there at the time. And that was at that the commissioner meeting for BC Lion expert type of fans, right?
Yeah,
remember
it was
that?
Shortly after he was hired, yes.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
It was a long
like
time
8,
ago.
9 years ago.
I ripped a strip off of him there at that thing, and he was like getting really pissed off And then somebody wanted to take our picture together, and he said, "Okay, guys, smile." And if you look at them, both of us had manufactured smiles on because we were like fighting. And anyhow, so that's it. Yes, Stephen, there's a picture of me and Randy Ambrosi, but yeah, no, we're not being friendly with each other at the time. Okay, so let's jump into this agenda. And speaking of commissioners, we have the CFL commissioner, Stuart Johnston, that's with a T in there somewhere, to be introduced at Hotel X press conference in Toronto. What's a Hotel X? Is this owned by Elon Musk? Because everything he has is an X.
I don't know what
Competition.
Hotel X is. It's really a lame name for a hotel, to be honest, but
It is, but it seems to be the name of the thing. So there's nothing really about that. It's a 3-down article that says nothing. So I'm kind of excited to hear this guy. And do we know when this presser is going to be?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow,
10 o'clock.
Eastern. So 7 o'clock in the morning
right.
for us on the West Coast. So I'm excited to have to hear what the new commissioner has to say and see what direction he wishes to take the league, and see whether or not he has the backing of the Board of Governors. And is this going to be a short-lived tenure, or is he going to be around for a while?
So they announced this 2 weeks ago. How come we're just having a press conference now?
Normally, you would think it would be within a couple of days.
Well, hang on. He was with another organization, and he had to give them notice. And obviously, he gave them a lot. And he said that he couldn't start until April 21st or April 23rd or 4th or whatever it was. So I think it was the 21st. So he started work on Monday. So, he had to give some notice, I guess. I don't know whether it's notice that he had to give to TSN or whether he was, walked out of that already or what. But he said that he could not take over the reins of the league until April 21st.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
So hopefully next time we're on the podcast next week that we all have more insight onto who Stuart Johnston is.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. The picture that he's got in this article makes him look really goofy. Like this guy is Nerds Are Us.
Yeah, but he's slimmer than Randy was. That's for sure.
Oh, fuck. He's the size of Randy's leg.
We're fat shaming again. Stop it. Anyways.
Okay. So anyhow, I'm not going to be critical of him until things go sideways. So right now I'm optimistically cautious about the commissioner's office at this point in time.
Okay.
I'm optimistic, but I'm definitely cautious. Okay. You have anything to say, Charles?
Well, I'd be interested in hearing from this guy. We haven't heard from him yet. So, hear what his vision is and just kind of generally get to know him a little bit better, because right now we don't know a lot about him other than the fact that he was one of the top guys with TSN. So let's see what his vision is. Let's see what he has to say. We haven't really heard anything from him except a few little blurbs the day they announced that he was hired. So
I don't have anything bad to say about TSN other than the fact that their coverage of the CFL fucking sucks.
But on the other hand, he should know something about the CFL because he works for TSN.
No.
He should. And he should know something about marketing, and he should know something about media, and he should be able to bring us up to date on a CFL app, on a website, on promotion, on TV contracts.
He should be involved with all this stuff.
Improving the contract in the TV contract in the United States, and doing all of these things, and possibly even expanding somewhere like St. Louis.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, William, anything interesting to say about our dear friend, Stuart Johnston?
We don't know anything about him. He hasn't said anything about him. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see, maybe he comes up with a master plan right out of the gate. Maybe that's why he's waiting. Maybe he went on to an AI website and said, okay, give me a plan for the CFL, and it was right there in no time at all.
I have yet to find anything on AI that's worth a pinch of coon shit, because it's just junk.
It's very interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
If the majority of people out there put up stupid articles, AI goes, oh, this is real.
Yes.
So I'm having that challenge right now on a couple of Facebook groups that I'm involved in, and I'm not going to say anything about them, but it's not football related. And there's a situation where people believe something that is false, and everybody believes it.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it's true or not is irrelevant, because when 100,000 people are telling you that it's true, and you know it's not, and there's facts proving it's not, AI just ignores the facts and goes with the majority of people.
Yes, they do.
So I don't know. So we've got an article from CFL.ca, which is, the title is the top 3 CFL draft priorities for each team. Well, the draft is coming up, so this is kind of important, and let's just go through it and see what we can do. So the BC Lions are first on the list here, the West Coast, and their first priority is an O-line, a receiver, and a defensive back. Wow. I don't know why you would want a defensive back on very few defensive players, Canadian defensive players. Why would you put that a priority? I don't know.
That's something they need.
There are a number of them in the league, though.
Yeah, defensive players. Yeah.
I mean, Terrell Ford in Edmonton is the number 1 cornerback, and so be it. And he's Canadian.
Tunde
so the Lions
has always been around.
Tunde Adeleke, Matthew Betts,
top receiver in the league, and he happens to be a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we also have one of the other top Canadians in the league with Javon Cotoy. First one was Justin McInnes. So let's draft some more Canadian receivers. Not a fan of the draft.
I agree with.
I'm sorry? O-line, yeah.
Understand Canadian receivers also fill some other important positions on CFL teams.
Special teams.
You need the fast guys on the outside. Yep. Okay.
And guys with hands.
That's right. So they do fill that need. And there are some decent Canadian receivers that play. The Philpott brothers are a perfect example. So,
except for the fact they haven't really done anything, because they've both been injured most of their careers.
Well, the one in Montreal has done a lot.
He's got a Grey Cup. In fact, had the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, so does Cody Fajardo.
Yeah. I'm sure, BC is used to signing Canadian receivers that haven't done anything. So I'm sure they'll sign Philpott in the next 3 to 4 years, because there was that Durant guy that used to play for BC. They made him the highest paid Canadian receiver in the CFL. Remember that, guys? And he was really good, wasn't he?
Not fondly.
I don't think he was the highest paid Canadian receiver, but he was the highest paid receiver on the Lions.
Well, no, I think he was the highest paid Canadian too. To be honest,
whatever, he was getting overpaid.
Yes,
ridiculously.
He was. Yes,
ridiculously overpaid.
Bucks was overpaid.
Who?
Yes.
If they paid him $12, it would have been overpaid.
Yes.
Lamar Durant.
Okay. So, Calgary Stampeders. Calgary Stampeders need an O-line, receiver, and special teams.
Correct.
Who wrote this fucking shit?
Isn't that like saying You know,
Jamie and I did.
of course he did.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he did. Oh, well, let's speed this up. Let's make this better. They're right about all the things Calgary needs is offensive line, receiver, and what is ST?
Special teams.
Special teams. Okay, that would go with receiver. So, and then let's go down to Edmonton. They need best available.
They need everybody.
Yeah.
That's not.
They're not picky. They just want the best of anything.
It's
because they got fucking nothing there.
Please bring us something.
They got nothing. I would think that number one pick for them would be a quarterback. Oh, did I say that? Whoops, sorry.
No needs, just talent.
Why would you pick a Canadian quarterback in the draft?
Well,
they've done it once before.
Honestly, I was just
going to say,
I was going to say right now, if I'm the Elks, I'm looking at picking Curtis Rourke. I mean, I know he's not likely to come to the CFL. He's expected to go to the NFL. But if I'm Edmonton, I want his rights. Just
fucking rights.
The prediction is that, and I have looked into this from the last time we talked, and the prediction is for Nathan Rourke that he is going to be picked.
Yes. Curtis Rourke.
Curtis Rourke, sorry. Curtis Rourke is going to be picked 15th overall by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, the only team that I think wouldn't really be interested in him, but maybe I'm wrong, would be the Lions.
I'd take him if I was the Lions. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Get both the brothers?
Yeah, but you can't keep both brothers.
Yeah. And suddenly all the Bomber fans that trash Nathan Rourke and say he's no good be like, oh, we got Curtis Rourke. He's a blue chipper. I can just see the posts on Facebook.
Oh, 100%. They'll still be dissing Nathan Rourke.
Of course they will. But, yeah.
But there's not one team right now in the CFL that's solid at the quarterback position. And I mean that including BC.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question mark behind Nathan Rourke right now.
Really?
There's always a question mark behind Vernon Adams. I'm not even going to address Trey Ford, Trevor Harris, Zach Caleros, Bo Levi Mitchell, Chad Kelly, and Drew Brown. Oh, and Davis Alexander.
Yeah.
There's your quarterbacks. There's your starting quarterbacks.
Literally every quarterback has a question mark. Everyone.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, after last season, Bo Levi Mitchell's question mark is a lot smaller than it was before.
No, the question mark for him is, will he be good or bad this year?
Does he revert back to what we saw before last year? Because before last season, his previous 3 seasons before that were horrible.
But they were injury laden.
Yeah,
they were. But then he can get injured in this year too.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting old.
Right.
Zach Caleros, his question mark is getting bigger every season.
He's getting old.
Trevor Harris got old. He's 39 this year.
He gets hurt every year too.
If you guys are calling them old and hurt, what about fucking Jeremiah Mazzoli? Like, he may not be old in age, but man, okay, he's had more injuries than all those quarterbacks combined.
His legs put together with popsicle sticks at this point.
In my opinion, has got a raw deal everywhere he went. Okay? That being said, I have never been a fan of his ability to play the game.
And I will further that with saying that I've never thought he was a good quarterback.
No, I don't think he's a good quarterback. Now, does he bring expertise and experience to the BC Lions with a young Nathan Rourke? Yes. if we have to rely on him playing football, we're fucked.
Yeah, but if Nathan gets hurt, I mean, hey,
Fucked.
Jeremiah's your man
Well,
to tell him how to
I,
fix his injuries.
I
Okay?
think he's an okay guy for a short period. I wouldn't want him long term. For a game or two, I'm fine with it because he can put together a good game or two. He's never put together a sustained long period of time where he can put together. And honestly, his knee, I don't know how much pounding that per. The human leg isn't supposed to break that much. It's not
I
supposed
don't
to
think
break
he's strung
once.
2 good games together in his career.
No, I don't. I disagree with that. I mean, there was one year where Hamilton went, I think, 12-6 with him as the starter. So he's put a few games together. Not a lot, but I wouldn't say he hasn't put 2 together.
Okay, I gotta close the door here. It's starting to get cold. Hang on a second. There. I'm out in my studio apartment, and somebody left the heat on max, so it was like 38 degrees in here. So I opened the door and let it go, but now it's starting to get chilly. Okay, so Saskatchewan Roughriders, they need the defensive linemen, they need linebackers, and they need O-line. If you're relying on Canadians for those positions, you're in trouble. I don't know. I just don't understand this. O-line, receiver, linebacker for Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Defensive line, DBs and receivers for Toronto. Defensive line, linebackers, DBs for Hamilton. Receivers, linebackers, O-lines for Ottawa. Depth for Montreal is what it says. Depth. How does Jamie and I write this and get away with it? Doesn't he have an editor?
I think he owns 3 Down Nation, doesn't he?
Yeah, but this is CFL.ca.
Say that what again?
It's
It's
CFL.ca,
CFL.ca.
not
Oh,
3 Down
okay.
Nation.
It's not 3 Down
Oh.
Nation. That's Justin.
Oh,
What's
Dunk.
his name? Justin Dunk.
Dunk.
And I love how he says top 3 priorities for each team. Under Montreal, he writes depth. Under Edmonton, he writes best
Anybody.
available. That's not 3. Your math doesn't math there, Jamie and I.
Well, in all honesty, if your team is looking for offensive linemen, it's looking for offensive linemen. And the top 2 draft picks are receivers. Do you go for an O-lineman or do you go for the receiver because he's the best number 1 pick?
Yeah, there's always
What he's saying
best
is
available thing.
Edmonton needs to take the absolute best player available for their pick, regardless of position.
I've always
don't
been
disagree with that.
Best available guy.
They actually, what did they say? There's going to be 3 Canadian quarterbacks drafted in this draft?
Apparently.
Like,
Why?
seriously. Why?
Mind you, if you look at the quarterbacks we now have in the CFL,
are they that much better?
There hasn't been a lot of great guys brought in recently.
No.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like Shea Patterson in Saskatchewan, and he's now with Winnipeg. Davis Alexander did very well in relief of Cody Fajardo.
Correct.
And
so
now
they gave him the starter job.
They gave him the starter job. I'm not that impressed with Drew Brown, who came out of the Winnipeg organization and went to Ottawa. But is that because Ottawa just fucking sucks? Or
I mean, they did get to the playoffs with him last year, so he's got further than what most of their other quarterbacks got. I'm not saying he's the sole reason, but they at least seemed to show some progression last year.
Yeah.
last year was probably one of the worst turnouts for the Western Division that we have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
If there was a crossover, Ottawa wouldn't have made the playoffs.
True.
Okay. So if the West played their normal game, Ottawa wouldn't have made the playoffs. So your point there would have been moot.
True.
No offense. I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
Ottawa wasn't just ripping up the Eastern Division.
No. And we're probably not likely to see a total nosedive by the West again. I don't see that happening twice in a row.
Well, I sure the fuck hope not.
Well, but you can't really say that because once again, you said every quarterback in the CFL has a question mark. That includes the West.
True.
And if they don't have strong
100%.
quarterbacks, they're not going anywhere. So
does any team in the CFL have a solid backup quarterback?
Well, who are the backups? Okay. In BC, we have Jeremiah Mazzoli. In Edmonton, we have Cody Fajardo. In Calgary, we have who?
That guy.
Who?
What guy?
That guy. He's a UFL guy.
Okay, so we don't even know his name. So that tells you all we need to know about him.
Okay. Saskatchewan
I know who you're talking
has
about,
Jake
though, Will.
Mayer.
I don't know his name. Jake Mayer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Winnipeg has Shea Patterson because we can't call Chris Strevler a backup.
He's barely a quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Now in Toronto, we have Chad Kelly, but we also have Nick Arbuckle, right?
Oh, hey, that's probably the most solid one.
Yeah.
Probably the most solid
he
one.
Stepped in won him a Grey Cup last year.
Who does Hamilton have backing up Bo Levi Mitchell?
That guy that they replace Bo with all the time. Maddox?
Yeah, Maddox.
Maddox.
What's the hell's his name?
I thought they were going to go as his number one, and then they put Bo back in.
Right. That guy.
I'm just looking up his name right now.
Okay. Jumping over to Ottawa, Drew Brown, we have who's backing him up? That's Dustin Crum.
Dustin Crum. He's actually not bad. I don't have a huge problem with him.
I was actually really shocked that Ottawa went after Drew Brown in the offseason when they had Dustin Crum because I thought he was a pretty good scrambler and he had his head in the game and he didn't play bad football when he had to.
Yeah. We were all wrong. We were saying Maddox. It's actually Taylor Powell.
That's Taylor Powell. That's what I thought. I don't know who Maddox is. I've never heard that name.
Yep.
He's a TV star in the 1970s.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Taylor Powell. And then Montreal has Davis Alexander and no idea.
Nope.
He was the backup. Who you got now, right? So I don't think that there is a team out there, certainly not in the Western Division, that is sound if their starter goes down.
I think the best you can look at is Toronto.
Toronto, Ottawa, Hamilton.
Oh. The backup in Montreal is McLeod Bethel Thompson.
That's right.
Right. So they probably have one of the best.
That's not a bad one either.
No, they have the most solid backup probably.
Yep.
So the Eastern Division has better backup quarterbacks, straight across the board.
And actually, if Davis Alexander falters, McLeod Bethel Thompson could easily become the starter in Montreal.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Who is that other guy? He got
Taylor Powell can do that for Mitchell too.
That's true.
Yeah, he could. True that.
Who's what, Will?
Who was the other guy in Toronto last year who started the first 5?
Cameron Dukes.
Cameron Dukes. That's right.
Cameron Dukes.
Is
and
he
they
still
let him go, didn't they?
Is he still in Toronto?
I believe so.
Yeah, I do too. So they have a pretty good quarterback room.
Yeah. Because we were really hoping that Cameron Dukes was going to play really good football, and then
They
Chad
ditch,
Kelly had no home.
yeah.
Yeah, he's still in Toronto. So
Yeah, Cameron Dukes, he is.
So they could
Okay.
probably trade Chad Kelly and still have decent quarterbacks.
Who
Nick
would you trade him to?
UFL.
Yes.
Trade him to the Arena League and say, hey, see ya.
Many people for him to conquer in the UFL. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
He would be back in the USA. Anyways.
There's our take on the quarterback situation in the CFL. That wasn't on the agenda, but we did it anyhow.
Yes, we did.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the next article up is a BCLions.com article, and it says, "Don't ask for a better spot. Mazzoli winding road returns to the West Coast." Was he a member of the Lions before?
I don't know. I think they're referring because I believe he played, if I'm not mistaken, he played college football in Oregon. I don't think he was ever part of the Lions before. Not that I'm aware of, anyway.
Sure, he was not.
I don't think he was on the Lions. I think he went straight to Hamilton.
No, I think they're talking about because he played in Oregon, which is on the West Coast.
San Diego.
He was an Edmonton Eskimo, a Hamilton Tiger Cat for most of his career, Ottawa Red Blacks, and now BC Lions. So maybe it's just because he's been so many places, it's still a winding road for him. Maybe that's the reason why they're saying this.
Yeah, Oregon Ducks.
Or maybe
I don't know.
Or maybe it's because he's left pieces of his knees in every CFL city. just
I don't remember him getting hurt in BC, so I can't say that.
I think he's gotten hurt everywhere. So,
well, he hasn't gotten hurt in BC yet, but the preseason is not far away, so we'll see what happens there.
They're not going to play him in the preseason. He could get hurt.
Mazzoli is Mazzoli. We all know what he is. We know his faults. We know his traits. We know everything about him. Why BC chose him? I don't know. I would have been happier with McLeod Bethel Thompson personally, because he was up for grabs.
Yeah, but he's not the same style of quarterback.
No, he's not.
He's a drop back passer. So.
But that being said, Nathan Rourke, who is a very, very mobile quarterback, Jeremiah Mazzoli is not anymore.
Well, he thinks he is.
Yeah.
He's got
that's why he always gets hurt.
Taped to his knees.
You know, they're making braces out of titanium these days, so
I know.
He's probably got pretty broken proof knees now.
I need one. I got a torn meniscus. I'm not happy. It's painful. Okay. Oh, let's have fun with this one. Tim White compares his play that he makes in the CFL to NFL superstars Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
I would agree with him.
You would?
Yes. They're identical in the fact that a quarterback threw the ball to him and he caught it. So in that way, they're the same, aren't they?
I suppose.
You're really very fortunate that Microsoft Teams doesn't have a reach out and slap the guy on the screen beside you button.
Yeah, but I have a fan base in my podcast studio. Did I tell you that?
What?
You got a fan base?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Would you like to meet my fan?
Is it an actual fan?
Yes.
Is Patty there?
Oh. no.
He's just
no,
gonna put a hat on and pretend he's
no,
another
no,
person.
I'm not. His name
Who's
is
there, William?
Ollie the avocado,
Oh
fuck.
boy.
and he's my fan, and he agrees with everything I say. And the nice thing is, he's even got his own nut. Look at that.
Well, that's okay because I've got Manny Arsenault here watching me. So
Okay, cool. I
He
just thought I'd
his
introduce you
bobblehead
guys.
and-
To
And
him,
I
so-
got Joe Cap.
Huh.
Okay. Okay, cool. Cool, just
And an
saying.
empty box of cookies.
Oh, I got a full box of cookies here. I didn't
Oh,
realize.
shit. Well, that's
Look
a
at
big box.
Look at this.
What are those?
Shortbread.
McDonald's.
I thought people only ate shortbread at Christmas time.
We have
Why?
we have
And
a
I don't
neighbor,
eat it at all because I hate shortbread.
we have a neighbor who's from South Africa,
Oh, okay.
and his mother is visiting, and she's also from South Africa. And her and Patty got along so well last year. She brought us cookies, so she
Okay.
showed up. She showed up on Easter. Anyways,
You know what is awesome, Charles? Is raw shortbread dough.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Eating it before it's cooked is awesome.
what's awesome is little avocado boy. Isn't he
He's
cute?
not in the picture. He's
You can barely-
he's in the
he's
fuzzy
getting
background.
blurred.
Well, there we go.
You know, you did promise the fans, our viewing public,
Yes.
that you're going to show up to the 600th episode with your tickle trunk,
Yeah.
and you failed.
Yeah, I did.
You're just like Randy Ambrosi. You're a failure.
That's correct. And I'm fat like Randy Ambrosi, according to Steven Sparksman. Anyways, um,
Well, you
He
do
didn't say
hang
you
out
were
with
fat. He said you
you-
were getting bulky.
You do
Oh.
hang out with avocados, so
I do, and I eat
But
shortbread.
avocados are a really good source of protein. So
Yes,
that's
they
true.
are. I have avocado.
it's one of
toast
one of nature's best foods.
avocado toast all the time. So
I like guacamole. You should try my son's homemade guacamole. It's excellent. Best guacamole ever.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
Okay,
fair
so
enough.
let's get back. Let's get back to Tim White and his arrogant comments about him being a NFL superstar quality receiver.
It's one thing to have somebody else compare you to these guys. It's a whole other different ball of wax when you do it on your own.
When you do it on your own, you look like an idiot.
well, I'm sure that he's just that kind of guy who he doesn't care about the NFL money. He's kind of like what's his
Terrell
name?
Ford.
That's the one. He's like Terrell Ford. It doesn't matter. He could play in the NFL if he wanted to. So
Yeah, but Terrell Ford, he's turning down NFL teams left and right, according to him. So
yes, he
why
is.
can't Tim White be Jerry Rice?
Tim White can be anybody he wants to be.
So Tim White finished last season in third place as a receiver with 18 games. So he played every game with 74 receptions and 1,164 yards.
Well, he's a 1,000-yard receiver. That's
1,000-yard receiver.
That's what Jerry Rice was doing at the end of his career when he was like 37 years old. So maybe that's what he's talking about.
maybe.
Because normally in his prime, Jerry Rice was 1,600 yards every year, not 1,100.
Yeah.
Then again, he
I mean-
did have Joe Montana throwing to him, not Bo Levi Mitchell. So, but Bo Levi Mitchell was good last year. I'm not saying he wasn't, but
Exactly.
Joe Montana.
But wait. If
So
Tim White thinks he's Jerry Rice, then Tim White must think Bo Levi Mitchell is Joe Montana or Steve Young, right?
Well, we know better.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand how and you're 100% correct that if we had made that comparison that Tim White looked like Jerry Rice or whatever Moss, it would have been a compliment. But when he says himself about himself. It's just a fucking hollow, arrogant statement,
Look at
especially
me,
if
I'm
his
Jerry
play
Rice.
does not back it up.
He's a good receiver, but come on. Don't say that. You sound so stupid and arrogant when you say stuff like that. Hey,
I think
look, I'm Jerry Rice.
I think this all goes back to they're all butthurt because someone said that there's no superstars in the CFL.
Of course it is. But let your play define your description.
Yep. I agree.
Excuse me. Go out and rip up the league. You do that, you know what? I'll call you a superstar. I'll call you an elite player. I'll call you anything you want. But you got to be outstanding.
Yeah, don't call yourself Jerry Rice.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Absolutely
Go
ridiculous.
Go get 1,700 yards and 18 touchdowns. Then you're a superstar.
Okay. So we still don't have a lot of news, eh?
Nope.
We really don't.
Nope.
You're scraping the bottom of the barrel with these.
Oh, yeah, with like an ice cream scoop or something, scraping it out. It's ridiculous.
Ottawa Redblacks place running back Devontae Williams on the retired list.
Yippee.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I don't know what else we can say about that. Would you like to
Was he a
roundtable
player-
discussion on
player-
Devontae Williams?
Was he a player in the CFL?
I
And
think he was.
What did he do?
Past tense. Not there anymore. And this next
I think
This
he
next
was Rob
article-
Gronkowski, wasn't he? I don't know.
the evolution of Canadian quarterbacks about to hit another milestone.
I am looking
This is-
at this article right now, trying to figure out what the original milestones were.
We had the original milestone was we had one that could start.
We still only have one starting Canadian quarterback.
I think this all goes back to the fact that Curtis Rourke might get selected in the NFL draft. That was a milestone. There was one draft. The NFL wanted one once.
There was also Jesse Palmer. He was a 4th-round selection in the 2001 NFL draft. But
He became the Bachelor on television.
Yeah, but like I guess the biggest milestones would be Nathan Rourke, okay, who did come in and start in the CFL. That was his rookie year, was it not?
Yes. No, it was his second year.
Yeah, but his rookie year he didn't play.
Okay.
He was behind Mike Riley that year.
Okay.
So he came in, but he broke 5 CFL records.
Right.
He broke 3 records and then broke his own record twice.
And then I guess another milestone would be Trey Ford getting drafted to the CFL and sticking with a team, because most guys don't stick with a team.
Well, I mean, we are going to have 2 starting Canadian quarterbacks playing each other.
Didn't
wrong?
Didn't Michael O'Connor play for the BC Lions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, he was
Rourke's backup.
Yeah, he just won.
He started one game.
Yeah.
He just won the Canadian senior men's football championship in Europe.
Yeah.
Well, they beat that one team 56-0, eh?
Nothing.
Yes, something like that.
Some European team.
Yes. So, which was good for him. He still has a football.
And everybody's talking about the fact that the European football leagues have a ratio to protect the homegrown talent.
Well, so
they don't have much talent if they're going to lose 56-0.
Well, no, but this is you can't compare the two, because I do believe that some of the football players that get drafted in the CFL that are Canadian do have some athletic ability.
Sure.
Okay. The European players are protecting. These guys are high school footballers at best.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've known people who've played in Europe and they've played Canadian college and they're hands above them. So
I know there's a lot of teams in Europe because I never remember the guy's name, and I have to apologize all the time. He used to be a BC Lions marketing guy, and now he runs that international football media website out of Sweden. You know who I'm talking about, Charles?
I do, but I don't remember what the guy's name is. I know who you're talking about, though.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly, Ron Kelly or Bob Kelly or
something like that.
Anyhow, I was talking to him one day, and a lot of the teams in Europe are only allowed to have 3 import players.
Yeah.
that is correct.
Which, wow. No wonder they get beat 56-0.
Yep.
Okay. Evolution of the Canadian quarterback. I don't know what the milestone is, though. Is that the fact that Trey Ford is going to be playing Nathan Rourke in BC? Isn't that our season opener?
That is a season opener. That happened before, too. If you remember back a few years ago, Edmonton played BC in the season opener. That was Rourke's first game as a starter, and the Lions put something like 56 points on them.
Yeah.
We'll see if that happens again. We'll see if
That would be
history
nice.
repeats itself. That game
I'd like to see that.
That game is on my birthday, June 7th.
Okay. Next up, Will's favorite player in the CFL. Actually, that's not true. He's just buddies with the dad. Veteran Canadian receiver Colton Hunchuk retires from the CFL and joins the Calgary Stampeder coaching staff. What's he coaching?
Special teams and offense.
He's a special teams coordinator. He replaced Mark Killam?
No. He's coaching special teams. They didn't give him the title of coordinator.
No, he's a special teams assistant.
Okay. and offense.
Okay. Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the story. When I saw that article, I called his dad and asked him what was going on because I haven't talked to his dad for a while. And apparently, Calgary was going to sign him as a receiver, but they were holding off to see what was available in the Canadian draft because they have so many picks.
Right. And that makes sense.
So he didn't think he wanted to wait. So Dave Dickinson made him the offer of being a coach. And he said, yes, he's known Dave Dickinson since he was 12 years old. So, and the reason Calgary even drafted him was because of Dave Dickinson, because Dave Dickinson knows him well. So pretty smart guy. I know he's knowledgeable. Apparently, and this is just secondhand stories I've heard from his dad, he taught most of the more talented American receivers playbooks and stuff like that because they weren't very good at it, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll see. And you know what? It's a good opportunity for the guy because he knows people in the CFL. He played for Ryan Dinwiddie. He played for Corey Mace. So it could set him up for a career down the road. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
That's fair.
And since coaches don't stick around Calgary, they go elsewhere.
Especially if you want to, stick to football. So.
Okay. Well, we've rounded out the agenda because it was kind of lean.
Yeah.
That's not a jab, Charles. There's
No,
just
no, no,
nothing
no,
fucking
no.
happening. Is there
True.
anything else that you guys would like to discuss? Will, you're on a diet. You're not supposed to be eating after 6 o'clock at night.
These are fucking great. Anyways.
What are they? Macadamia nuts?
No, these are the shortbread I showed you earlier.
Oh, you're crunching on them. That's not supposed. Shortbread's not supposed to crunch.
I'm very
Here's
loud.
a subject Will wants to probably talk about: the CFL's 10 highest paid kickers and punters.
Is there an article about that?
There's literally an article about that.
No way.
Do they actually pay kickers?
Apparently,
Why?
I don't know. Well, the highest paid kicker in the CFL is Sean White.
Yes,
He makes
I don't doubt that.
$140,000. Second is Rene Paredes, $125,000. Brett Lowther of Saskatchewan third with $123,000. Lewis Ward in Ottawa, $122,000. It's weird how they're all going down by $1,000. Oh, Mark Leggio is fifth, $116,000. Sergio Castillo, $115,000. Liam Hiralahu, $107,000. That's surprising, seeing as he also kicked in the NFL.
Yeah, that
Jose
is.
Maltos in Montreal gets $99,000. Richie Leone, this surprises me a little bit, $95,000. And
He's a great punter.
Cody Grace of Edmonton, $92,000. So there's your
I'm
10
shocked
highest
by
paid
that.
kickers.
Wow.
What, Cody Grace?
Yep.
He is actually a good kicker.
I think he's the best punter in the CFL, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder what Dave Dickinson was trying to chintz him for if he went to Edmonton.
Yeah.
Holy cow. But of course he would be a good buddy of Mark Killam's because Mark Killam was the special
teams coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
Okay. Anything else you wish to discuss?
Yeah, I wish I could have gotten Colton Hunchak's job, to be honest with you.
You wanted his job?
Absolutely.
As what? The receiver?
A special teams coach. Any
Well,
kind
did
of
you
coach.
apply?
You have
No,
to
of
apply
course
for it then.
Of course not. I
Well,
don't
you're
have-
retired. Why don't you just go work work as an intern for the Calgary Stampeders? They have lots of guys
The
that don't
thought-
get paid.
The thought has crossed my mind.
Just show up there one day. Put me
Show
to
up there
work.
and say, "Hey, look, how can I help you? I'm a water boy. I can run."
The thought has crossed my mind.
I'll just
We'll
sit
see.
here and yell at your kicker.
Well, they might kick me off for something like that. I do know their chaplain though, so maybe that's an in for me.
I want to see Will on the sidelines. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Me too.
Yeah,
I will. I think you should just go do it. Work as an intern.
we'll see. I have
There's a little bit of a smirk in there.
Mhm.
Maybe he's actually seriously thinking about this.
I think he is.
I have a couple of real job interviews next week, so
Real jobs
yes, sir.
on purpose?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
much for retirement, eh?
Well,
Patty wants you out of the house?
no, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I'm trying to find something that'll be fun.
Walmart greeter.
No, that wouldn't be fun.
Well,
Because
that'd be hilarious.
my opening line would be, "What the fuck do you want?" Okay. So,
Actually, Walmart greeter wouldn't be as much fun, but
well,
the person that
apparently-
demands to see the
apparently-
receipts on the way out the door. Give me a
apparently,
fucking receipt.
apparently in Alberta, and I heard this from my neighbor across the back alley from me because he used to work at Walmart. Alberta has a special place for Walmart greeters in Alberta. You have to be handicapped, as in you have to not be mobile. You can ride a little scooter and be a Walmart greeter in Alberta.
Well, I mean, it might work. Do they count mental handicaps?
Huh.
'Cause you'd qualify there.
Have you been reading my T-shirt tonight? Is that what it is?
No,
Just
I
see
just
my
listen to your
T-shirt?
brother.
Can you see my T-shirt? Yeah, I know.
Fight
Oh.
this stigma,
T-shirt?
mental health awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad my brother's not on the show right now.
Probably a good thing.
So,
Yep.
just saying.
He's going to watch the show. And then you're going to get in trouble.
Nah,
Yep.
he's not going to watch the show
No. Okay.
because I'm on it.
Well, guys,
Anyway.
I think that's going to be it. We're going to
I
wrap
think, yep.
this one up for the night. You okay with
I
that?
think so. Yeah,
I'm good with that.
We're a little bit over an hour, and
Yep.
we'll bring it together. So this has been Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 601. I've been your host, Christopher Jones. Charles, say goodnight.
Good night, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll be able to talk about the draft. Great. Next week, so that should be interesting.
Well, is the draft Tuesday?
Or it might not be. Yes,
No.
the draft is next Tuesday.
Okay,
No,
yeah, we'll talk about the draft.
Monday. If it's the 25th, if it's the 20, it's either Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. One of the two.
Okay. It's usually
I'm sure-
Tuesday, I think.
I'm sure there'll be lots of news coverage on it.
Yeah, sure. It'll get a 50.
We'll
It might get
also
a
be
50
talking about the
second
new
clip.
commissioner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll know more about him too.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
William, say goodnight.
you know what? There's something.
Uh-oh.
I'm never too old to learn new things, and I learned something on this podcast tonight.
Which
You guys,
was?
you guys are kidding me, right? The
About
CFL actually pays kickers? Really?
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Anyways, good
William,
night,
say
everybody.
goodnight.
Football's coming soon, and we'll have more to talk about.
It's
I
not
promise.
volunteer.
Take care. We'll see you next week, people.